Damn it, here we are. Whee! I love that music. Is it still playing?
Yes, Colette. We are live. We're just waiting for people to show up. So
Yay, we're waiting. We're having some fun. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. It's me. I am here to do your 15 card reading for the month of September. I've been spending the last 20 minutes studying the reading and I have a lot to say. So we're just waiting for some more beautiful faces to show up. Can they send me hearts on YouTube? I don't know. Or Facebook? I want to see some love. Show me some love.
yes, they can send it where we can see all the people coming in.
Excellent.
A lot of people coming in right now.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Great. Yay.
Lots of love, Colette. Lots of love.
Awesome. Yeah. I had the craziest dreams that last night and woke up this morning. It's just been like really interesting. I don't know how your dreams have been since this new moon in Virgo on Saturday, but I don't know. I always loved September. Although I will say I have this, maybe because my mom told me I couldn't wear white shoes after September, after Labor Day. So I don't know. Just like, where are my summer clothes? Let me wear them all the next few days.
Wow, they would put sneaker business.
Right? Like that. What is that? Yeah. Things we learned from our mothers. Things we learned.
And the odd voice in the background. Oh, Colette has a cough. Oh, she's got
Apologies. Apologies. My Woo Crew bottle is right here. I love the color.
Yeah, this is Mark, the
Mhm.
voice
The voice of God. No, the voice of husband.
of husband.
Come and say hi, Mark.
Okay, hold on.
Come and say hi to them. Well, we're just waiting for everybody to show up. We want you to be here when I do the reading. Come and say hi and show them how cute you are.
Hello.
I met him on the internet. I'm serious. I met him on the internet. You too can find a soulmate online. That was like in the early days when I had a big clunky computer, like a giant one. I was on Hotmail and I met him on Lava Life. Can you believe that? Yep. Meant to be, I tell you. So I think we should get going, Mark. Okay, let's get going. So I'm going to remind everybody, hello and welcome. For those of you who have just shown up here on Facebook and on YouTube, we are live. And today is the last day of August 2022. Oh my gosh. And we are heading into a really unique period of the year. Last night, we did this great attunement. Many of you are going to get that in an email if you weren't able to make it. But I really like to prepare in advance, especially with the type of astrology that's going on. And I'm not an astrologer, so I'm just going to tell you in blanket statement that we're not out of the woods. How's that? But if we prepare and we know what's coming and we have an idea of what energies that we're working with collectively as we move through these big changes, then we can better prepare how we meet the world so that it doesn't take us by surprise and that we can still live vibrant, vivid, amazing lives in service to the world, in spite of any kind of chaos or turmoil that may arise or may not arise, right? So anyhow, so I want to get to this particular reading. So let's talk about what we already know. So we know that moving into September, we're in Virgo season. That's Virgo season has a very specific type of energy. It's hard. It's actually the hardest one to move from Leo to Virgo. I love it. Even though I have 5 planets in Leo, and one would assume that the Leo season is like the best, but I actually feel phenomenal when it's time to go back to school, right? And the organization and the structure and the seriousness that this month's energy requires of all of us. But it can be quite jarring for some personalities. So understand if you're kind of feeling it a tiny bit off, that may be why, because we are moving into a different season of both our like astrological period, but also, and the Mercury retrograde that's coming on September 9th or 10th, depending on where you are in the world. We have that. We have the seasonal change, both in the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere. So there's a lot going on. Now, because we are from all over the world, the kind of information that I talk about is not specific to any particular country, political thing. I stay out of all of that because you come from everywhere. So what I look at here is energetic flow that's impacting humanity. So when you are getting this reading, I want you to apply it to yourself personally and kind of you can sort of say, okay, this is what Colette saw. So how do I apply that to my smaller life, right? So we're just looking at, these are big picture. It's also predictive. I definitely see this as a predictive reading that is also prescriptive. So remember that. I like prescriptive readings because it empowers you, whereas just predictive readings basically tells you you're shit out of luck if you want to make a change. So I put them together. That's really what makes my readings different. Okay, we are using the Shaman's Dream Oracle, and I'm going to start with a 15-card reading with the center card. So the center card, these 3 cards actually are where we are as we enter into September. This is the main theme of the month. Now, there's no such thing as being completely separate from the month before, right? So we move from where we are now into a kind of an energy, right? And we know that like weather changes, so does energy. So here we talk about the unmarked trail, which is all about revelation. So what we can expect from the month of September is things to be revealed, that we will recognize and reveal to ourselves and others what we need to shift. And that's a very positive thing because we're not going in blind. We're going to see. So the cracks in our foundations, which is what is going to come up for us, the obstacle card flanks it, and so does connectivity, the jeweled web and the wall. So that's unmarked trail in the center, flanked by the wall and the jeweled web. So we have the information here is, what are the obstacles to our connection to each other? Now, there's lots of information that's become very apparent to us. All of us have been dealing with collective trauma on a much global scale. We're learning more about our responsibility to that. We're also recognizing that about our own personal life experience, and we're all deciding, or many of us, we not necessarily all of us, but we're being invited to take a look at how could we heal the thing that was, shift the way we see ourselves now, so that what we leave and what we build upon is solid and isn't based on a repetition of the past. But that requires us to be awake and to be aware of these things. What's beautiful about this is that the Mercury retrograde exists in the month of September. So this is the perfect time for us to regroup, reassemble. It's a perfect time for us to reinvent ourselves, to reestablish our bottom line. Like what is yesterday night I talked about what are our non-negotiables, and that's and also the structure of how we build our lives and how we work with, because the Virgo season is about our health, our mental health, as well as our physical health. What are we doing what do we know works, right? So we have to do what works and not do what doesn't work. That sounds pretty simple, but that's the invitation, and it can be uncomfortable. So the thing that I want to say is that don't expect super duper comfort, but expect to have revelations that will really give you something extraordinarily beneficial, right? So if you make the commitment to go in with an open mind and say, oh, what are the obstacles to me connecting with others? And what are the obstacles to me connecting to spirit? How can I renew my trust and my faith, in this power greater than myself? So this is there's a lot of, I would say, the spiritual practice that we need in September. That's actually a structure. Is, can we recommit? Maybe we didn't do it this summer. Maybe we're like all over the place. Maybe we're eating too many French fries. Maybe we're, where did our higher power go? And to affirm that we can, in fact, have the kind of connections with others that are not steeped in division. That's really important, right? So that this is all about that. Now, the natural flow, these 3 cards naturally flow there. So that's if nothing changes, this is where we're heading. So we are heading into the bold step forward. So I really like this because the 2 cards that flank it is the universe is your partner, and the other one is the crossing. So in the hand and the crossing. So all these 3 cards are really important as a story, right? So here we start, we realize, oh, there's some obstacles, I get it. And we want more connections. And actually Mercury retrograde does come, I think it's between Libra and Virgo, it goes back and forth. So it does impact our personal relationships, how we speak to one another, the kind of communication that we need to have. And it gives us an opportunity for some healing, which is really good. So now here we're reminded that Spirit's our partner. So that's actually really good because it's natural. So there, we don't have to fight for this. This is going to be obvious to us that in fact, this initiation that is uncomfortable, right? Isn't that uncomfortable. Why? Because we recognize the synchronicities. We recognize there's less absence of spirit. We're starting to really recognize where spirit is, where it shows up for us, and there's an openness, and more of an openness as we step forward in this month of September to again reassess, to rebuild, right? Reassess, to rebuild. And this is not as hard as one thinks either. So we think it's, oh my God, it's so much work. It's not. It's about, the hardest thing is to decide. It's to make the decision. Now let's look at the obstacles. So the natural obstacles here are these 3 cards here. I'm going to actually read from the guidebook because there's a couple cards in here that really stood out for me in this entire reading. So here we have, remember, we go from here, we naturally go there. But what is brewing? Like what could help us over the obstacles, or what could provide us more obstacles? That's what these 3 cards tell us. And actually, it's telling us the nature of what is going to help us over the obstacle. Why do I say that? Because it's about reconciliations, which is the first card, and it's flanked by Fortune's Wheel, which is right timing and luck, and Dragon's Hoard, which is about protecting the future. So these 3 cards are telling us, all of us, that it's like if we commit to our conscious contact to our higher power, like it's like the gates of heaven open and all the information that we need starts arising for us. We just have to trust it and not second guess it. So I want to read to you the Wailing Tree card a little bit, because this is, again, we'd say it's the nature of the obstacle, or it's what helps us over the obstacle. So I'm going to read it. When you encounter the Wailing Tree on your path, it's an invitation to stay a while and regroup. And it's perfect because this is Mercury retrograde season, also the last 2 weeks of September moving into the early part of October. That's the nature of this September. This is fabulous. We're supposed to be regrouping, right? It's time to allow yourself to say goodbye to what no longer serves. You maybe have been overdoing things, overthinking things, working too hard, or putting too much effort into life with little reward. If you've been considering making a change, now is the time to do so. Now is the time to recommit to yourself. The regroup, recommit, reinvent, recalibrate. One important thing to consider before you make any changes is that you need to allow yourself to feel your disappointment for the things that you know you have lost. Or maybe you set yourself up with expectations that haven't really panned out the way you decided. So we forget sometimes, and that's the whole nature of spiritual narcolepsy, that our timetable isn't always the same as Spirit's timetable. So we get confused and we screw things up because we think that it's not going to happen, so therefore I have to scramble. That's talked a lot about in this book by Catherine Ponder called The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, and one called The Dynamic Laws of Prayer, where we think the universe was originally our partner, but then it's like, well, I'm not getting what I want, the way I want, or how I want, or it doesn't look the same. So therefore, oh, it's all bad. So this is a reminder. What is yours will not go past you. And some detours are necessary in order for you, which is the Fortune's Wheel, to come around to exactly what is important. So then it says here, it's a really important way to honor your experience. Like, I really love that. I think last year or the year before was when people started using a term called spiritual bypassing, and I've always been allergic to that. The love and light brigade has never been my thing, and that's okay. I'm not putting it down, but I really believe in shadow work is really important in order for us to be really true to, acknowledging the light. I am all about love and light, but I also I'm love, light, and shadow, right? And I think it's important that we honor our experience and not repress it at all, and not to say that anybody else's experience is wrong either. So it's bringing back our judgmental side, like bring it back and to say, I'm going to honor this moment. All of me is perfect. So give yourself time to consider all the gifts in your situation, to put proper closure on it, to really know what you've learned as you walk away from it into something new. So this is also really good too. So the month of September is all about that. Really kind of recognizing, oh, these are lessons I don't want to learn these again. If you do what you did, you're going to get what you got. I don't want that. So that's about, what is it? That's that, right? That's like defining that this month. Very, very good. It says, even in the perception of failure, there is much good to be discovered. However, skipping the stages of loss doesn't get you to reconciliation any faster. In fact, you'll discover you will have to come back at some point. So do it all now. Do it this September. Do it all. Look at it squarely and honestly and stay with your feelings. Life is not either or. It's both and. This and that. Light and shadow, right? Like we have to remember that it's both and. It's not just one thing. I think that's a problem with our big divisions right now. Dive in, process this, allow it to become a temporary travel companion on your journey. The feelings that this will bring to the surface can be challenging for sure. Yet like all things, they will pass. They will pass. And you will become more enriched by the experience. So this is one of the reasons why I like to prepare for Mercury retrograde and why I like to do these readings and why I did the attunement yesterday, because it can be quite jarring and it can also be probably the richest moment on our path. And so I'm telling everybody, like, use this time wisely to clean house and get restructured. Now, these three cards, Mark, do you want to turn the camera on? Okay. These three cards are also awesome. And these are the hidden influences. This is what's going on in our collective unconscious. This is stuff we're aware of, right? Oh, this is where we are, whatever. This is like, okay, there's the nature of the obstacle or how to get us around the obstacle. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention the Dragon's Hoard card at the end, which was really about what we are doing right now, the choices that we make, the commitments that we make, the prosperity that we're seeking, the service, the compassionate prosperity in service to others comes when we do our own work, not to like, oh, we're not broken. We're not broken at all. We need to go in there and remember that we have to bring up and illuminate what needs healing. Doesn't mean broken, right? Healing needs love, just needs more love, right? That's the focus. So we protect our future when we take care of our now, and we work through whatever happened in the past. Okay, now here we go here. So these are what's going on in the unconscious, and I love this card. So I'm going to read you this one too.
What are the three cards?
I'm about to say that Vanishing Mirror is the center card, which is the anchor of what's going on in the unconscious, which means this is what the collective is actually working through in our evolution unconsciously. And it can also be unconscious material that or things that hidden influences. They could also be our guides that are helping us, that are working on our behalf, or somehow thwarting us if it's related to this. But in this case, the only thing that could thwart us is us. Okay, so here we go. And actually, that's always the case. It's our perception. So I'm going to read you this.
And the two cards beside it?
First breath. Thank you, Mark. First breath, which is about beginner mind. And the other one is deep diver, diving into a task. So I will go through the whole storyline. First, I really want to talk about this card because this is really key for everybody to think about. So it says, do you ever wonder if your self-definition has become too rigid, too fixed around what you've come to learn so that you contract your life into zones of safe versus unsafe? This here is okay, but over there, well, that might be too risky. Judgment, fear, self-righteousness, and overconfidence are only some of the traits that keep you from evolving. Okay, and this is this part, right? This is what we're healing on the unconscious. This is what everybody's acting out in right now, or we're not, right? So that's the kind of cloud. But here it says we're all products of our conditioning. I'm actually focusing a whole bunch of this on Oracle Palooza, actually, about our conditioning. Remember, this is part of the human experience. You're not meant to remain static, seeking only what you expect. Even if it appears ambitious, it's still too narrow. You go nowhere when you hesitate to move out of your comfort zone. When you focus too much on yourself, this way you become a servant of the ego. It edges God out. removing the magic of possibility. But this is what is happening right now. This is what's being seeded. Imagine looking into a mirror and seeing only what you are now. If you can let your self-definition soften, that's what's being required of us right now. Moving beyond the veil to your potential, a magical emptiness exists where all things are possible. Look again, who could you be? What would you see reflected if you allowed yourself to be other than how you define yourself now? And we're really looking at the definitions that are challenging, and they come from our conditioning. It's past conditioning. We're memory-based creatures, right? So that's why we have to, deal with the past so we don't repeat it in the now and then in the future. So it says here, what would you see reflected if you allowed yourself to be other than how you define yourself now? In this moment, let go of who you think you are and allow a new you to emerge. You will recognize yourself as what you are, a partner in co-creation, in service to the divine. Doesn't that feel good? So we're starting to wake up to the fact that there is this partnership that's mirrored in these three cards here, which we're naturally going to. And on the unconscious level, we recognize that this is the struggle, but if we stay in beginner mind and and it does say we are learning something new, and if we commit to diving into a task, all these helpers that are in the invisible realms are going to help steer us. And also in our own unconscious, there's a desire for evolution. It's coming up it's like how the tulip is pushing up through the hard ground in winter, or the crocuses are the first flowers that come up in the winter at our house. So it's like, how the heck do they get up? They have to push so hard. These gentle, fragile little flowers figured out how to push up against that hard ground. And that's what's happening to all of us right now. We're like those flowers, pushing up through this resistance up through the ground to flourish on the other end, right? Okay, now, yay. Here's what Spirit is doing for us that we cannot do for ourselves. There is a level of stillness that we can totally tap into. So it's not going to be hard for us. Sometimes Mercury retrograde can make you feel squirrely, but this is saying, no. If you can make a commitment to still yourself, 3 cards, right, Mark? Deep quiet. The net caster is on the other side, and dances on one foot is the other one. I'm going to go through the story. So we are going to be able to access a kind of meditative stillness that can be and we might have struggled about in the past. One of the reasons I love to do attunements and guided meditations is that you just have to listen to a story, but the stillness comes in so without any effort at all. And this is saying we have capacity for that this month, to slow down and trust that. So that's really beautiful. And also it reminds us how to connect with our higher power is through that feeling state of connection that comes through meditation and trust. Now, preparations are coming to fruition on one side, and the other one is the dances on one foot. So let me tell you about this card and why it's important to the whole story this month. So often when there's a time to regroup or reassess or reinvent, or the re's that come up during retrogrades, which is also a re, what happens is that there can be a pushback, or we resist it because we think things have to be a certain way. And this reminds me, I brought up that author earlier, Catherine Ponder, and she talked in one of her books about something called chemicalization. And that what happens when we don't see the thing that we had set our sights on coming to fruition, the way and the how and the form that we set in motion. But this card tells us that Spirit is preparing on our behalf, like all these things behind the scenes, both on an individual level, if this makes sense to you, but also collectively, that there really is an evolutionary process that's going on right now, but we're not alone in it. We're just not alone. So there's all kinds of activity going on behind the scenes that we don't see. So again, when I said earlier, what is yours will not go past you, there's a sense here that this is really becoming more and more true for more and more people. And it is about refusing the conditioning and refusing the conditioned parts that we know are unfair or that aren't working or that whatever it is, there's a whole list. We're saying no to that and yes to this unknowable thing. We don't really know. It's an uncharted time. It will be like that between now and the end of the year. Lots of up and downs, but we can handle it. We're on a whitewater raft, but we're not meant to fall into the water. We got this because there's an angel right beside us that's saying, hey, just steer a little bit that way. And yes, the waters are like this, but we can not only manage it, we can flourish because of it. Because here it says we're going to get all kinds of ideas that's also whispered into us. To say, hey, you can do this. And the balance is available to us. This card here, Dances on One Foot, is also about us having the grace that we need. Even if we kind of stumble and fall, there's a natural grace that will help us get back up again and enable us to do whatever needs to be done this month. So this is a doing month. This is a month for us to be very conscious of our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs and how we respond to the outer world. It's really the truth about the whole next quarter of the year. But particularly for September, this is I think, a particularly powerful month to take advantage of the opportunity that we have to make that real core commitment to your values, to compassionate prosperity, to this restructure what's not going on, what that you see, maybe you need to do some, or in other times you need to do nothing except do the inner work, and the rest of it becomes really apparent one step at a time. I think the other message that I feel intuitively, and my guides are telling me to say right now is that, trusting in spirit doesn't mean you can't be afraid, right? You might be afraid a little bit. You might have fear. It's not the absence of fear. It's not the absence. It's trusting and having the courage anyway. Sometimes it's really important to have the courage to trust, right? That sounds kind of like, oh, do I have to have courage to trust? Yeah, because we've been conditioned to believe that things have to go a certain way. So that's it. I have more to tell you, though. I'm kind of excited. Any comments coming, Mark? Do you see them at all? I don't know. I can't see them here. I have my iPad. I have something to tell you. I can't forget this. I'm excited. So I hope that was helpful. This is a really great month. And again, I think it's a month to be very sober about things and to be methodical as well about taking care of yourself and putting yourself first as well, and allowing for these, especially these two cards here, I found them to be really meaningful. That it's not as hard work is not just done by us, like pushing. It's sometimes by us staying still and regrouping and reevaluating. It's one of the reasons why we do Oracle Palooza in Mercury retrograde. It's a reevaluating time and regrouping and a recommitment to self. Okay. So we are only 2 weeks away. I'm so excited. 2 weeks away from my biggest, most magical event of the year. Hello. Oracle Palooza Virtual is a 3-day virtual event for the mystical, the magical, and the woo. It's all online and it's interactive. So what that means is you see me right now like a talking head, but how it would go at Oracle Palooza Virtual is that I see you too, and I can talk to you and say your name, and you can talk back to me. And that's how it is. I have like big, giant screens.
Oh, Colette,
What?
No one gets to talk back to you.
No, you can't talk back to me. Unless I say you can.
They get to talk with you.
They get to talk with me. Oh, yeah, you don't get to talk back. Oh, that's right. Only, yes. That's right. I watched my mouth. Okay, here we go. So you want to go to ColetteBaron-Reid.com/OPV to get your ticket now. And here's why you want to get your ticket now. Because each ticket comes with swag, but it's limited to first come, first serve. So if you get your ticket today, you can get your event workbook and your copy of the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, like the one I'm using today before the event. And obviously, it's not just about the swag. But when you do get your ticket, you will experience 3 joyful, insightful, life-changing, and I can say these things for real. I'm not bullshitting you because I've done it. This is not my first rodeo at this, and people love it. And they say, honestly, that it's changed their life and it changed their perspective and their choices on what to do next with their lives. This is amazing. Plus, it's woo-woo. And where are you going to go for this amount of woo? for a cool, amazing weekend retreat where you can stay in your pajamas. Okay, you get 3 amazing days with teaching sessions with me where I guide you through these incredible exercises and I take you through activities to help you create and claim. What am I doing? You're going to claim a life greater than your fears. Okay, we're going to claim it. I'm going to show you how it's done. I'm not just going to talk. I'm going to show you how, and I'm going to make you feel it. You're going to be able to feel this as your truth. Breakout groups. You can make friends from all over the world. Last year, we had 4,500 people from 53 countries. People made lifelong friends. The year before, it was, it was just like, it's amazing. Now, live guided meditations. Ooh, if you came last night to that attunement, that is my favorite attunement. We are going to be doing that again, and brand new ones no one has ever heard before. Amazing experiences where I will take you through these processes where you will come out the other end changed. Oracle card readings, of course, I'm the Oracle person, right? So I'm going to show you how to use your Oracle cards to actually really get an understanding of personal transformation, which you're going to know as well personally. I'm going to do mediumship. I have Spirit Jam on Friday night. We have 2 bonus sessions, one on Friday night after dinner where I do a special Spirit Jam for all over the world. I do mediumship. I do actual readings for people for that 90 minutes. Amazing to witness. If you don't get the reading yourself, it's incredible. Like you might get a message anyway. And then I do coaching on the Saturday night after dinner. These are bonuses. And like there's so much more. So you want to go to oraclepalooza.com or ColetteBaron-Reid.com/OPV to get your ticket now. And just listen, if you're just curious about it, go look at the video, go read about it first, right? Now, this week is the cutoff. Is it the cutoff, Mark? No, it's if you're international, like if you're Canadian or if you are European or Australian, you got to buy your ticket this week because we want to get you your swag in time for the event. If your swag doesn't come in time for the event, we have every contingency already taken care of. So you will be well taken care of if for some reason it doesn't come. And anyway, so I want to see the box. I got to show you this. It's so awesome. Look at that. Isn't this great? It's really heavy too.
Yeah, and it comes with this card deck too.
Yeah.
That you're using, the one that you and Alberto.
Yes,
created.
Alberto Villaldo and I created this based on the Jungian archetype of the shaman. So it's not about cultural shamanism, but it's all about the experience the collective is having right now, the initiation into this shamanic journey that all of us and around the globe is actually experiencing at this moment. So yeah, come and hang out with us for 3 days. That's the 16th, 17th, and 18th. We do have recordings for people that buy the what is it called, Mark? The premium ticket.
Yes, the premium
ticket.
VIP ticket. They get the big box with a whole bunch of goodies inside.
Big box with goodies. The regular ticket gets a bag of goodies, still fantastic with no recordings, but you got to come live. Yeah, and it's something for everybody. So we're really, really happy. I love doing it. It was a big, like I didn't know what was going to happen. It was a COVID screwed us up originally, but hey, here it is. Anyway, love you guys. Hope you enjoyed today's reading. Lots to think about, huh? Lots to think about. Watch it again. Take some notes. See how it applies to you.
And Colette, I think the link might be somewhere here below us or whatever.
Okay.
But our team has placed the link somewhere here to get the tickets.
Yeah, somewhere. I don't know.
Oracle Palooza, for those who want to know. Hold up the box for a second.
Box. Here's the box. Oracle Palooza.
It's spelled ORACLEPALOOZA or ZA.
Depends if you're Canadian.
.com.
Oracle Palooza.
All one word. OraclePalooza.com.
Yeah. And it is the most awesome thing ever. And I hope to see you there. Are we done?